Welcome back to the first RMAC showcase of the season, where we're taking a deep look into the football year following the first ever conference kickoff party taking place at Dove Valley. The next 3 teams feature one of the longest tenured coaches in the conference, a brand new coach in the conference, and one of the biggest turnaround stories in the RMAC over the last few seasons.
One of the main things I continued to yell on the sideline was be great, because at Black Hill State, good doesn't cut it. You know, good is 2-8. Good is 4-6, which I think the last season was. Good doesn't cut it. So being great is really all we can. It's our status. Like, you have to be there, or else nothing will matter. And what I want to leave as a legacy is I really want to pass that torch down to the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and incoming freshmen. Just that greatness is really what we have to expect of each other, because if it's not, then we're just going to be another mediocre team in the RMAC.
You know, our guys, they always uphold our program to the highest standard. You know, they do a great job of being people in the community, being people on campus that are willing to lend a hand, volunteer, and I don't ever have to worry about that, you know. But I think the success is just our guys continuing to develop and grow, and our coaches being great teachers as they have been, and leading us to a successful campaign during this 2019 season.
This year is going to be great. We've definitely been trying to change the culture this summer and build off of what we did last year and the last couple years. Just kind of build behind Coach Blank. He's definitely changing the program and taking us in a new direction, and we're all loving it. I mean, got a lot of good guys coming in this year, and so we're all super pumped and ready to get after it, man.
I guess once you get out of it and once it ends, you reflect a little bit more than when you're in it. You know, when you're in it, it's so week to week that you try not to look back or look forward. You try to, you know, stay week to week. Looking back on it, there were so many positive things. We didn't win as many games as we wanted to win, but we were finally competitive in nearly every game. There were a lot of individual accolades, a lot of unit accolades, and we had fun. I mean, I think that was, it sounds silly, but to keep this business of football a game does take work, and it was a purpose that we had going into it, that let's make sure we have a blast this season and be able to look back on the end of it and say that was a lot of fun, and I think we did that.
It's like turning the Titanic. You can't go in and change how you do things like this. It's a developmental process. And so I think that's slowing down our progress more than I would probably want. But I think anything in the world slows down more than I probably want. I think we're getting better. I don't know that we'll be as good as we were in some ways, because we have to replace a lot of kids that played for us for 2 years. But we have really good young kids in the program, kids being relative, really good young student athletes in the program.
I'm trying to inspire my younger players to do the same thing, you know. I'm really out there when we don't have practice. Hey, let's go run. Hey, let's go do some hand drills. Hey, let's do some other things, you know. Trying to inspire them so we can all come together collectively as a team. Because the wins and losses don't matter too much. It's more about a team aspect. I'm looking for the bigger picture from when I'm gone as a senior. You know, who else is going to step up when I'm not there, when my voice is not heard.
From preseason wants and needs to a member of the conference office who's breaking ground on the college football scene.
Denard with the handoff, cuts it up inside, and he has plenty of room. He might take this to the house. Indeed, he will. From 44 yards out, Marshae Denard gets the first offensive score for either team.
The NCAA rules in any sport are for all 3 divisions. That's a stipulation that the NCAA has. So the NCAA football rules is applicable to divisions 1, 2, and 3.
And those rules will now be governed in part by RMAC Associate Commissioner Kirsten Ford.
I think the main focus of the Football Rules Committee is to make sure that we're continuing to move the game forward. We have an obligation to student athletes, coaches, and officials to progress the game. With the understanding that our fans, you know, they fell in love with a certain sport. So trying to maintain the integrity of football, but also keep at the forefront the safety of those football student athletes.
While safety is certainly one of the many things the NCAA Football Rules Committee deals with, they'll also be dealing with a first during the 2019 season, as with her appointment, Ford became the first woman ever assigned to this post.
First of all, I'm very excited to be on the committee. To find out later that I'm the first woman to be appointed to the committee, There adds a little bit extra pressure there, but I am very excited about it. I think in 2019, I didn't really figure that I'd be someone breaking the glass ceiling, so to speak, because I do see, women as Division II commissioners. So I see representation of myself in the places I want to be. And so it wasn't really something that I considered when I applied for this committee. But I'm excited to move forward the representation of females in football.
Ford is the next in a line of women breaking through the football ranks thanks to the RMAC, following in the footsteps of former Adams State kicker Becca Longo, who became the first female to earn a scholarship at the Division II or higher level a few years back. We look forward to catching up with Kirsten as her time on the committee moves forward. That brings us to halftime on this edition of the RMAC Showcase. When we come back, we're creeping towards the top of the preseason coaches poll. We'll be right back.